I was just wondering, I would ask you about Creed Humphrey. We had a chance to talk to him last week, and just want to ask you again just about his leadership, especially during this time. How much does it relate to some of the past leaders you've had on the offensive line, and does he remind you of anyone at all?
I don't know if I'd say he reminds me of anyone, but I think his leadership up to this point, obviously when we started in the spring, and it's really carried over to right now, it's been unbelievable. I think, Creed's kind of back to the guy that he was as a freshman. He had some things last year, and obviously he played good, but probably not up to his standards and to our standards. But, he's done a great job being a leader. We've had some inconsistent days at times where we're not practicing good, and he's the one that rallies the whole offense. I mean, he's the experienced guy. He's played the most. So he's done a great job up to this point. I can't say, hey, he reminds me of this guy or that guy, but just, he's being his own guy. He's really playing at a high level right now. Been extremely impressed with how he's worked, how he's been a leader, and, he's on a trajectory to have a really good season.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Jason Kersey of The Athletic, and then Ryan Aber.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, so last year when you had a bunch of starters to replace, you talked about the importance of finding the right combination of guys. And this year when you have so many guys with starting experience back, I'm just wondering how you're approaching this. Are you trying out different combos? Are you sticking with what guys did last year? How do you approach that?
That's a great question. In the situation we're in right now with guys being in and out, for whatever reason it is, I mean, we have had very, very few guys play the exact same position from day one till right now. I think we're kind of getting settled in. We're still got to move some guys around. The one thing I like is I think we've got a ton of depth. We had no true depth last year. There's going to be some, really good players, I think, that, are going to have to be on our scout teams. We only travel 10 or 11 guys, and we've got some high-quality guys. We've got some really good freshmen. But we've been forced to move guys around. And I probably would have tried it anyway, just to create some competition, just to see, who's the best fit where, what is the best combination of guys. But we've been forced to. The only guy that, I was thinking about it earlier today, and including every walk-on, every scholarship guy, the only guys that have really settled in and been in one position from the very beginning has been the centers. That's really been it. Most guys have moved around. For example, if you go back to spring, and it's been really impressive. I mean, Andrew Rame has played center, he's played right guard, he's played left guard, and he's played right tackle. He's pushing to be a starter. And he's going to play a lot regardless if he starts or not. As of this point, if he keeps to, continue to progress. But the only position he hasn't played is left tackle. And you look across the board, and there's, a bunch of guys doing that right now. And again, it hurts the continuity. But I think we've got, most guys. I know we've got most guys back right now. We still may move a few guys around here or there. I think we've got some guys settled into positions, but we're forced to do it. But I do think it's going to help us down the line. It's going to help us this year because you never know. It's a weird year. You never know what's going to happen. If we would have played 2 weeks ago, we played a game, we would have had, a bunch of true freshmen starting. So you just never know what this year is going to be like.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, Ryan Aber of the Oklahoman, and then Joe Bettner.
Yeah, Bill, sort of along those lines, you talked about the depth. How important is that this year to have good quality depth at your group, especially with just the strange nature of this season and the possibilities? And also, what are your thoughts on left tackle right now?
The depth is huge this year. Like like I said, 2 weeks ago, had we played a game, we would have been in a situation where there would be a lot of inexperienced guys playing. If this was a year ago and we were in the same situation, we may not have been able to practice. So our depth in 1 year has totally changed. Obviously, we lost, 2 years ago, we lost so many guys in 1 year. And I've said this numerous times, you can't replace all those guys at one time. Now, just saying at left tackle, we've had Adrian Ely working there. We've had Stacey Wilkins working there. We've had Anton Harrison there. We've had Finley there. Noah Nelson has been there. And I'm not saying for every day, but with guys in and out, I mean, we've had 5 different guys playing there. And the right tackle has been the same situation. I mean, every one of those guys has played right tackle. Aaron Parks has also played right tackle, but every one of those guys that I just mentioned has also played right tackle with the exception of Anton Harrison. Anton Harrison has just stayed at left tackle, trying to keep him at one spot right now just because he's a true freshman. But, guys have moved around, like I said, multiple times. It's a different year. You take guys just being sick, injuries, whatever it is, and we've had to move guys around. And I've been pleased with them. It's not an easy thing to do. Heck, I may come in that morning. I find out in the morning who may be there, who may not be there. And I may say that morning meeting, hey, you're going to right tackle. You're going to center today. You're going from left guard to right guard. And then this third team guy becomes a second team guy. So it's just constantly moving guys around. But right now we're in a good spot. We got most of the guys back. So we got a lot of good competition. We need it. I've seen as much improvement these last 2 weeks because guys know that the person behind them is pushing them. And look, there's 10, 11 spots that we're going to travel with and guys that are going to play and practice with. And then the rest of the guys, are going to scout team. And it's a fortunate thing for me. That guys got to compete every day. You got to be consistent. You got to compete every day. And I really, really feel good about our depth inside. Really good. As good as I have since I've been here. I mean, we've got, a bunch of interior guys that I think we can play with and win with. Tackle depth is getting there. We've got some young dudes that are getting there. But I think here in the next 2 weeks, I think we got whatever it is, 2.5 weeks till we play a game. I think that's going to be very, very similar to our inside depth as well. So I'm good with where these guys are at. Obviously, I mean, you got to continue to progress every day. You got to practice well every day. But the work they put in and what they're doing has been pretty good for me right now.
Appreciate it, Bill.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Joe Bettner at the Norman Transcript and then Kerry Murdoch.
Hey, Bill, I'm curious with, guys in and out because of COVID or whatever it may be. Can you just describe the challenges that you as a coaching staff face with keeping those guys engaged and, ready for a game that's coming up, on September 12th?
Yeah, it's not easy, but they if they are not here for whatever reason, they're injured. This is a different time, and you're obviously learning a bunch of different things. But for whatever reason, they can Zoom call into the meeting, so they're engaged with every meeting. I talk to those guys every single day. I have them watch tape. The guys that aren't here, they can watch practice. Zoom watch practice, and then they watch it on their own. The thing I like about this group and these guys have watched it on their own. I know they are because they will come back and they will, the guys that aren't here will say, hey, coach, can you watch this play? Or they'll tape the play when they're watching it at home and say, why did we do this? What do I need to do? This and that, if I'm in that same situation. So is it a challenge? Yes. But, I mean, it is what it is. You got to deal with it. And those guys, even though they're not here, have got to continue to mentally improve. It's very similar to what we had to do all spring, which, it wasn't an ideal situation to not be able to practice. But the one thing with having all those Zoom meetings is I really had for the first time being able to teach them football, just teach them, not our plays, but just football. And we watch NFL tape and we watch other college tape. So all we did as a group was study football. And I really see it showing up, when we're out there on the practice field.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Kerry Murdoch with Sooner Scoop and the Sports Animal, and then James Hale.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I know practices have changed a lot over the years in regards to physicality. Has this affected, your concerns about, developing that in your offensive line, just social distancing and things that you do in practice? You feel like it's kind of along the same lines as what it's always been?
You know, that's a good question. I think early on, when we called them OTAs, it's the first time that it's ever happened. I hope the NCAA lets us do it from now on, you know, where we got to go out there with the guys. You know, I think it was the first 7. I think we had 14 days, but we moved up our game, so we actually only got 7 days of it. But whatever. You know, we were out there on the field with them for an hour, okay, which I think that helped huge as well. We were doing drills, doing some teamwork, all that stuff. You know, that was a point where we really had to learn what we were doing. And that's a time where, yeah, we tried to social distance as much as we could. We're on them about wearing their masks all the time. But the fact of the matter is, when you're playing football, especially offensive line, it's hard to social distance. I mean, I don't know how to coach if you're not doing that. So I don't think the physicality part has been an issue once we got the pads on. You know, I mean, we'll move some guys around. We'll do different things to try to keep guys going against the same person. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, you know, playing that position, you're banging with dudes every single play. You know, I don't know what else to do, but they wear masks, you know, a shield. They wear masks when they're going. So we're doing everything we can to keep them as safe as they possibly can, but also, you know, become better at playing offensive line.
Appreciate that, Bill.
Yep.
Okay, James Hale with KREF, and then John Hoover.
Hey, Bill, how's it going, man?
Good, James. How you doing?
Doing well. Cody Ford, you moved him his last year at OU, and it really paid off for him with a great shot at the NFL. Adrian Ely has been a solid starter for you. You mentioned he's at left tackle. You played him at right tackle last year. Talk about his development and what you think that this year will bode well for him moving forward.
Yeah, and he's playing both, James. He's playing both left and right tackle. We just don't have a true starter set at any position. Like I said early on, you know, it was a little bit of a concern to me, but I feel like, you know, there's 4 to 5 guys right now stepping up for both the tackle spots. So we'll figure that out here in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, he's been impressive. You know, I mean, he was a kid. He was a long, athletic kid. He was pretty stiff coming out of high school. But he played hard. Great kid, great family. You know, really, really wants to be good. He works at it. He has really, really developed. I mean, he was a kid that it was hard to watch him pass set when he first got here, and he's really, really worked at it. He's going to have a chance, you know, to, you know, play in the NFL, whether it's after this year or the following year. Obviously, the only thing he's worried about is continuously improving every day, and then those NFL things will come. But, you know, just having the flexibility to play both left and right tackle. You guys never saw Cody play left tackle, I don't think, unless you were – it's been so long ago. He played, you know, left tackle in the spring, which I think that helped him. And he also played guard. You know, now Adrian's never played guard, but he's played both tackle positions, which will help him at the next level. So, you know, he's really, you know, really progressed. I'm looking for a big year for him. You know, really smart kid, works at it. All this stuff is very, very important. He's becoming a leader. So been impressed with him. And obviously, as you know, it's at this position, it's constant improvement every day. You can't ever get complacent, never feel like you've arrived, because that's when you're going to get passed up and that's when you're going to get beat. But I don't have any issues with him thinking that. So, you know, I think he's on the right trajectory right now to continue to improve and become a really good elite player for us.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good time for just a couple more. We've got John Hoover with SI Sooners, and then Brandon Drum.
Hey, Bill, you already mentioned one of these guys earlier, Stacey Wilkins, but I'm wondering from a perspective of a couple of young guys who really kind of showed out last year, how they're doing this year. Stacey Wilkins and Bray Walker, how are those guys adjusting to, you know, everything that's going on, as well as the depth you were talking about earlier?
I think not having the spring hurt Stacey the most. You know, not being around here. And obviously he was a young kid. We had him at right tackle. We just moved him back to left tackle again 3 days ago now. And I think he's had the 3 best practices that he's had since he's been here. It's really a weird situation just because he just looks better at left tackle. In the beginning, we needed him right tackle because we were experimenting with some other things and, seeing how he could do over there. Then we moved some other guys back to right tackle, wanted to continue to get him reps. He's a natural left tackle, and he's had 3 really good practices. I feel really good about him. If you would have asked me 5 days ago, 6 days ago, I don't know I would have said the same thing. But he's really starting to mentally focus. He's starting to work on things outside of here. Like I said, he's one of the guys that has been watching tape like yesterday. Hey, coach, can you watch a play 30 here from team and, critique me on that? And I would do that. He's driving to class and I'm calling him. I don't know that he would have done that last year. I don't know that he would have done that a week ago. So these guys mature at different times, and I don't care. And sometimes I do forget. I mean, the kid's a freshman still. He's a redshirt freshman, and he missed all spring ball. So. But we don't live in the world of excuses. But I feel really good about him, the way he's developing. If he continues to improve, Bray Walker, he's really come on. Been really impressed with him. The last couple of days, he's one of those guys that we got a lot of competition. I think if everybody's there, everybody's healthy, we've got 6 to 8 guys that can play guard that I feel really, really good about, that we can win with. I don't know that I've ever had that anywhere, So he's had to really step it up. He's done a hell of a job, especially these last, I want to say 4 to 5 days. Him doing a good job allowed me to move somebody else to left guard. He was playing so well at right guard. So been impressed with those guys and really have been impressed with all these guys. They've really improved, especially handling the situation. There's a lot of things going on in their life, socially and, with what's going on in the world, and, been impressed with them being able to handle their business and focus and be consistent for the most part. We've had some ups and downs, but been happy with what they're doing.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll go to Brandon Drum with OU Insider.
Hey, Bill, thanks for doing this.
Anytime.
And Parks and a couple other young guys. What is it that's made these guys a little bit different, I guess, maybe even further ahead than some other freshmen in the past?
I don't know. I don't know. I do know one thing. We had a ton of meetings with these guys before they ever even got here. That's one thing. I can't remember the exact amount of hours that we had each week meeting with them. And then even when we may have given the veteran guys a week off or a couple days off just to kind of get away from it all, I would still meet with the young guys. So, that's one thing that's put them, ahead. Parks is a guy that's extremely athletic. He's a little bit raw right now, but again, he's come on, he's doing a good job. Every freshman we have right now, I can really say, I think is going to be a really, really good player, coming up. Obviously there's a reason we recruited him. And again, we're not in the same situation that we were last year, where some of these freshmen had to be second team guys, had to travel, had to practice with the travel guys because we had no depth. Now they're in a position where, hey, you got to compete and fight. So it's a different deal. So everybody's stepping their game up.